Does on-camera celebrity translate when it comes to politics? We're going to see as a local broadcast legend in Jacksonville turns her attention to Capitol Hill.
In a race for a primarily Republican district, she knows is going to be tough.
Donna Deegan.
Donna Deegan.
Donna Deegan is running for Congress.
Three-time cancer survivor, Deegan says she's never backed down from a battle. She is focused on the finish line, this time in Washington, D.C.
Let's run.
In Riverside, Tara Lagaman, Channel 4, the local station.
Can y'all hear me talking through the mask, or you want me to take it off? No, you hear me good. Okay. First of all, I just want to say how much fun this is. It's so great to actually be around people. I love it so much. We had so much fun going through the neighborhoods and soaking up all that energy. You guys have the best neighborhoods. You really do. But I just want to thank you for, in the middle of a pandemic with everything just so chaotic.
I just thought, why not use the voice that I have in this community? I've built a relationship with people. I've listened to people my entire life in this community, tried to tell their stories in an impartial and fair way. And I hope people have built trust for me through that. And so I hope to use that relationship to convince folks that I would be a person that would be able to go to Washington, take their concerns, and really get affordable health care done for people in this community.
Since you can't gather people in big groups, we just gather everybody in their cars, decorate our cars, and drive around neighborhoods waving and getting people fired up to vote. That's really the whole idea. It's all about awareness, all about getting people fired up to vote.
Well, the election is the most important in our lifetimes, and I know we say that every election, but this time it's absolutely true. The race from Joe Biden against Donald Trump is proving to be one of the seminal events in the history of the country. Donna's seat is important, particularly to Northeast Florida, because while it is one of the most conservative seats in the country, where she's running the most competitive Democratic race we've had since that seat was drawn 10 years ago. So it's a way for both Democrats in this area to show that they have strength and to help the whole statewide ticket for doing better here than we've ever done.
This race isn't about the foundation. It's not about me. It's not about the work we've done for the last 20 years. It's about you.
Yeah, so I look at what's happening here in Northeast Florida certainly as a microcosm of what's happening in the state of Florida, and maybe even as a bellwether of what's happening in the country. So what we do up here in Northeast Florida is very telling for what's going to happen in the country.
I am a big underdog. This is an extremely gerrymandered district. It has been gerrymandered to cut out almost all the diversity that we have in Jacksonville. So Jacksonville is trending more and more blue. But at the end of the day, they've cut out a lot of that out of the district. They've cut out a lot of the diversity. So I'm in a district that is St. Johns County, Duval County, and Nassau County with a cutout for the urban core, which would be most of the diversity.
Gerrymandering is named after Elbridge Gerry, who when we first established the Constitution and they drew the first congressional districts, drew districts to fit particular politicians. And this day and age is where parties draw districts so to ensure that a member of that party will be elected. Now we have what's called fair districts here in Florida that they passed in 2010, which is meant to essentially outlaw gerrymandering, but it's still done. You have districts that are not so much gerrymandered but have oddly shaped, and for North Florida, what that means is you had a very conservative seat here that Donna's running in, and then a very liberal progressive seat right next door in District 5.
I believe that I'm here because of God's grace. There's no other reason I would be here. And the truth is, I have been for a very long time now serving with a mantra of love over fear.
Yeah, so I think Donna is really a once-in-a-generation Democratic candidate for this seat at this time. Just her personality and everything that she has done in this area, being a Jacksonville native, being on the news for so long, and being so invested in this community. People know her, they trust her.
We thank you right now in Jesus' name. We pray, amen.
Well, sure, absolutely. Donna is the underdog in this race, but she's also uniquely situated to do really well and to have an opportunity to win. She has been a part of this community for over 30 years. She was on television here as a news reporter for 25 years. So she's also a unique first-time candidate. And while she's definitely the underdog because of the nature of the district, she still made it a great race.
Scott Arceneaux is my consultant. And he always says, make sure you start with your story, because your story is your most powerful tool. And I think for me, that probably really is true. I mean, I'm a fourth generation Jacksonville native, born and raised here. My family's been here forever. Grew up on the South Side, went to FSU, and then couldn't wait to come back. I mean, I've always wanted to be here. This has always been home. I've always wanted to be here. I've never been one of those people that just wanted to climb the ladder all the way to wherever. I just wanted to be here at home.
And was just so thrilled to have the opportunity just a few years after I graduated to come back here and anchor the evening news on First Coast News for almost 25 years. And about a decade into that, I was diagnosed for the first of 3 times with breast cancer. So the audience went through all of that with me, losing the hair, getting sick, the whole 9 yards.
It was tough. I mean, there were days that I would literally sit there with a trash can next to me on the set and have to puke on, in commercial breaks.
When I was diagnosed the second time, less than 2 years later, I went to my boss and asked him if I could communicate with people online as opposed to talk about it on the air all the time. And so I did that, and that was really fortuitous.
This thread that kept coming through all of those responses, or many of those responses, was, I don't have insurance. I don't have a family system like you do. I don't have a good job. I'm frightened. I can't buy my drugs and put food on the table for my kids. And I thought, that is crazy. Because here I was, really trying to keep my head above water in this horrible situation, and I had all those things. I had a great job, a great support system, and I just thought, wow, that shouldn't be the case.
So those were all things that affected me deeply when I was communicating with people while I was on the air through that blog. And for that reason, I decided to use the megaphone that's attached to my mouth to start the Donna Foundation. And the foundation is an organization, a 501c3, that cares for people that are going through cancer that are facing what we call financial toxicity, where the bills are overwhelming, they don't have any place to go, and they need help. And the foundation has helped more than 14,000 families. And then of course we started 26.2 with Donna, the National Marathon to Finish Breast Cancer, to raise money for that purpose and for research.
It was very symbolic for me. I think that running is an incredible metaphor for going through something like cancer. It's going to be difficult at times, and yet somehow you push through that. And if you do, and you get yourself to the finish line, there's incredible joy and accomplishment and self-worth that comes from that.
I decided to leave the news business in 2012 to focus more heavily on that. Really grateful to have been in service to this community for all those years. I continue to connect with people on a daily basis. Decided to do this, frankly, because it seemed like the next step in service to try to help people get the health care that they need. And I wanted to stop hearing these stories of people dying or not having access because they don't have the resources.
I didn't like you. You didn't tell me the location.
Bring a picture. You don't want to see Donna? Well, this doesn't really fit.
Okay, so we are here gathering for what we're calling Lit Drop, which would really normally be called canvassing, but because of COVID, we're doing a contactless literature drop. So we're going to our areas that we've targeted in our priority precincts, and we're dropping literature about the campaign to let people know what we're all about. And we've got to get out there and send our message that everybody deserves health care, right?
Well, the pandemic has affected everything. It has changed everything. In a race like this, where Donna would have done a lot of in-person contact, we would have done a lot of door-to-door. We've been canvassing for months. We were planning to have a number of events whether those be small house parties or bigger gatherings at parks and people's houses. We weren't able to do any of that, and it has handicapped us. I mean, Donna is a particularly magnetic candidate, and it was important for us to get her in front of people. But in this day, in the pandemic, you can't get in front of people, right? It's a health risk. So it's really changed the way we do a lot of things. We depend on digital and the internet way, way more than we would have typically in any other kind of campaign.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Facebook Live Town Hall. I'm really grateful to have you with me tonight. I know we didn't have a town hall last week, so I miss seeing you, and I hope that you missed being here with us. But I really do enjoy, and I think as a journalist, I've always enjoyed hearing different sides of a story. Because look, I may feel a certain way, but it doesn't make that way 100% right. People come from different places, and that's what shapes their thoughts and opinions. And I think there's something to be gained from the way everybody thinks, regardless of how different it may be from the way that you think. Empathy is just so incredibly important to good leadership. And I will honestly say that it is both what I appreciate the most about people willing to share their stories, but frankly, what probably, as a person who is empathetic, that probably causes me to be, at the end of the day, the most mentally exhausted, because I feel such an obligation to those people. I don't want to let them down. And I think it's just really important to keep those stories in your heart and at the front of your brain when you're out talking to people, because that's what matters. Those lives are what matters. And I think too often in our politics, we end up talking about, we throw out talking points that make sense to our followers, and we don't really attach people's lives or circumstances to those. And it's critically important to continue to do that. I think the open is pretty easy, because by the time I get through the bio and say I'm in this for healthcare, I'm done.
Yeah, just 60 seconds.
But the close may change, Scott, based on what is said in the debate.
And then we do debate prep sessions where we basically kind of go over, like you would prepare for any test, go over the questions, sample answers, and just repeat each topic so that you internalize your message and you know what you say, and you can go into the debate prepared for any topic that might come up. We have Congressman John Rutherford and his opponent, former newscaster Donna Deegan, here tonight for 1 hour. We're going to be brisk. We also do what they call a mock debate, where we have someone play the opponent. In this race, it was easy because just the two of them. Sometimes you'll have as many as 4 or 5. And you'll do role play, and you'll at least try to go through a debate once, so that when they do it on camera, it's not for the first time. But many people believe that Obamacare, which I believe you support, is the problem. It's why we've got this healthcare crisis that we have today. It's been around for 10 years. It didn't solve the problem. Is Obamacare the problem? Does it need to be scrapped?
Listen, the Affordable Care Act made possible for 20 million people to be covered who weren't covered before. So I do support the Affordable Care Act, and what I would do is I would add a robust public option to that would create some competition. Republicans usually think competition is good. Create some competition to start to bring those prices down. And then we tell the drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies, that they have to negotiate for drug prices.
And will bring equitable access to everyone.
I'll tell you what, it is exciting. This has been a campaign season like no other. With COVID, with everything else that's been happening. Every day's different. It's like the emotions, it's stress, it's excitement, it's anxiety, and then it's excitement again, and there and out. Every single day, like Donna likes to say, we're running with our hair on fire. We've got stuff going day in, day out. So there's really no letting up off the gas until Election Day.
How's everybody doing?
Those are all about visibility, and really so that your supporters feel like you have a good, strong campaign, and it gives them energy and wants them to go out. And then those people that might not be supporters can see that, oh, you have a real strong campaign, you're out doing stuff, you have a presence, you know, I might want to check you out, see what your campaign's all about.
I know that it's because of the hard work and dedication of the people here in Duval County. And I cannot.
Well, one, we were desperately raising money to stay on television, which we have done. We actually just bought a little bit more television on Friday. So that was a big deal, so that we can reach as many people as we can. And then I think Donna's going to be out in the early vote sites and out in the communities every day. And she has been since early vote started. So we will be out, you know, visibly in front of people till election day.
Polarizing landscape is not good for anybody, and I think women are exceptionally good at bringing all the voices into the room.
The people are just great. All the volunteers, all the people who will give their blood, sweat, tears, and money to make sure that everything goes well. I mean, we've had more than 10,000 people donate to this campaign, and it's just beautiful. I mean, that's, in a race like ours, that says a great deal about how much people not only believe, but want change. And so it's been fun to connect with that energy. I love people that are so committed that they'll spend, you know, basically every bit of energy they have to make something happen.
Well, I read it every day. So the name that she's like, go to the I was like,
I really don't know what my first 100 days would look like. I know what I'd want to focus on. I'd want a campaign to be on every committee that has to do with healthcare, and I'd want to start moving that conversation forward. You know, 2 years goes by like this, and I really feel like I would have to be very, very focused on some of those goals that I want to make sure that we reach for people, healthcare being chief among them.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? I know, that's what I said. I'm like, how do you feel?
Last case of emotion.
Pretty confident. And when I say that, I feel confident in my own authenticity. Let's put it that way. From the time that I was a kid, my dad always told me, be who you are. Do not ever apologize for who you are. Be who you are. Some people are going to like you. Some people aren't going to like you, but they'll know that what they see is what they get. Have not lived a perfect life for sure. But at the end of the day, hopefully I have taken responsibility for that, and then also people have seen who I am. And so to me that is a lot of confidence, is knowing that you feel okay about being authentic with people. And to me the only way to reach people is through authenticity. So in that way I feel great.
Check in now on District 4, a highly publicized race. This is U.S. Congress. This is Republican John Rutherford versus Democrat Donna Deegan, and we know the results now. The Associated Press has called this race. Rutherford will keep his seat in the U.S. House in Washington.
Wanting to go over some numbers with you, John Rutherford getting about 57% of the vote, 166,000 or so, to Deegan's 123,000 now.
It looks like that both the AP and who else? Go ahead. It looks like AP has called the race. So yeah, you know, we knew when we undertook this race that we were dealing with one of the most reliably Republican districts in the country. But we felt that the people whose voices are never heard deserved a voice, and the district has spoken and said that they're going to send John Rutherford back to Washington. So I congratulate John, and I just, again, am so grateful. All those voices that felt like they were never heard, I think now they at least know that somebody's out there speaking for them. This is, to me, a celebration of love and of just so much hard work and effort. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all so much, and enjoy the night.
We love you.
Lose? Well, you know, when I went into this, I knew what the odds were, right? I mean, I knew what the numbers were. So I think part of when you're framing this for yourself at the very beginning, it is, you know, what would be a win without a win? And I think for me, that would be a Joe Biden in the White House. I think it would be a meaningful discussion on health care where people understand what is at stake. It would mean moving people who have been voiceless in this community more into the spotlight. So I think there are ways in which I would still frame this as a win if we didn't come out on top numbers-wise.
When I was talking earlier and then to the news, but I do want you to know that we were dancing over at the Beaches Library this afternoon to close up this process. And it was so joyful, and I posted it on Twitter, and somebody said, I hope we're dancing tonight. And what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to put anything out there that sounded like I was trying to hedge. What I wanted to say was, I'll be dancing regardless, because this was truly a joyful experience for me, and I wasn't going to cry. Damn it, Dave. I really feel like I found a family with this, because it's impossible, given what we're facing right now. Even if we win this election for president, this stuff isn't going away. And those of us who care deeply about the decency in this country, we've got to stick together, and we've got to keep working. And we've got, in whatever ways we can, to make sure that our kids and their kids are okay. Mm-hmm. It's what I kept in my head every single day. When I was standing out at the Beaches Library this afternoon, some young lady with pink hair, who looked like she was barely old enough to vote, pulled in and walked up to us and said, I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to go. And Katie started to give her directions on what to do, and yours truly just burst into tears. And I realized it's because this is all about our kids.
Yeah, it is.
It's all about our kids. We have to stay engaged, and we have to keep working. But I promise you, I'm not going to leave you in that. I'm going to keep working in whatever capacity that I can. So here's to you all. I love you very much.
Cheers. Cheers.
Donna! Donna! Donna!